Welcome back to The Collaborative, the podcast for young professionals in Michigan's credit union industry who are ready to connect, grow, and lead the future of cooperative finance. I'm your host, Camille, and I'm so excited that you're here with us. Let's dive in. Our guest today is Ginger Weeks, VP of Operations at Community West Credit Union. Ginger has carved out a powerful path in our industry, and we are diving into her journey in the credit union space. From being a district leader for Fuel Michigan, obtaining her CCUE certification, and serving as a young professional liaison for the CUCE Michigan Council. Thank you, Ginger, for being here. Hi.
Hi, thanks for having me. I appreciate it.
Of course. Thank you for all the rescheduling, by the way.
No problem. That's life.
Right. To get started, I wanted to start with your role because you recently became the VP of Operations.
Mm-hmm.
So was that something planned since you started, or what did that growth look like to be there? Congratulations, by the way.
Thank you. I appreciate that. To be honest, I'm very astounded at where I'm at in life today because this was not at all in my plans. I was going to be a mathematics teacher for middle schoolers. So finding a career in the credit union industry is just still kind of shocking to me. So
that's a total want it to be a genetic test or something like
that. Doesn't surprise me, to be honest with you.
Not with her.
Yeah, she's brilliant.
Like the 180.
Mm-hmm.
So you started, how many years ago was it now? It was like 8? It was close to
about 8.5 years ago.
Yeah. What made you find your footing in the credit union space? What did that?
Ooh, what a question. So to be very fair, I just wanted a 9-to-5 job while I was in school. I was tired of working retail, working those Saturday, Sunday shifts. I'm like, you know what? Banks usually work 9 to 5, right? And so I applied at a bank and a local credit union, which at the time was Rogue River Credit Union in Sparta, now Compass. And the credit union answered me first, and I just started working as a part-time teller. And my curious mind, I get bored easily. I like challenges. So I was like, hey, I would love to be full-time. And then, hey, I'd love to learn how to edit loans and understand that side of things. Then it was cards and fraud. And then honestly, it was just having a curiosity about learning more things, taking on more responsibility.
I'm the same way. I was in our loan solution office today. Can you talk to me about this? What is that? And then, so you did that with Fuel Michigan. Where did that fall into all of it?
Fuel Michigan, honestly, it's kind of funny. It was recommended to me when I came to Community West. I was working as an indirect lending specialist, and someone from our accounting department, she had joined, and she was just talking to me one day. She's like, Ginger, I feel like you would really like Fuel. And at the time, it was when it first started. It was maybe 20 people in the group when we were meeting. So yeah, itty bitty. And she was one of the first people in the group. And she's like, I had heard about it, but I feel like it fits more you. And I said, what? I'll go to one of the meetings. We'll check it out. And it was over in Lansing, I believe. And from then on, I just kept going. I loved the networking piece of it. I loved meeting others in the same industry with the same passion to help members. And honestly, that was early 2019, maybe late 18. Now, I mean, we're over 250 people in Fuel. It's
a whole lot.
Crazy. Yeah.
Even my progress of last year to this year, seeing growth. It's
exciting. I love it.
I love it. I wish we could have more people at our credit union be part of it, because I think everybody could be the networking aspect and all that. I think we can all learn to grow from that. And that's how the idea of the podcast started, because I was like, how can we make Fuel more accessible?
This is I love this idea.
How it literally was. I just sat there because I never felt part of the credit union industry. I felt part of Harbor Light. Mm-hmm. And I had the Moon chapter, but I still felt kind of out of it when I was there. And I was like, then I joined Fuel. It was great. But a lot of smaller credit unions like us, we can only send 1 or 2 people. We can't send all our young professionals. And I was like, how can we make it this way? Mm-hmm. And then I sent an email to a CEO who sent it to Patty, who sent it to Fuel. It was my brain. And it was all around the time of ACE. So it was
oh, yeah.
Sorry, guys. I know this is a really bad time, but I have an idea. Can we go with it?
And they're like, heck yeah. If you had it, go for it.
Josh will be at ACE. We're here. Let's walk and talk. And keeping up with him. First of all, half his height.
Yeah. Yeah. He has some of those fast, long strides.
Yes. And I was just like running to keep up with him. And I was like, yeah, great, cool. Love that, Josh. With Fuel, so district manager, weren't you? So last year you were like one of the people for the AC&E, right?
Yeah. So I've had the privilege to be it's ACE now, but
Yeah.
years prior, it started as I won a scholarship to be one of the AC&E YP scholarship recipients.
Yeah.
And that's when I first met Kyle Trondle, Kyle Zagunis, all the Kyles, Casey Clark. They were heading up Fuel. I met them at Fuel, but then really at that ACE. And then from there, after that year, they opened it up to say, who wants to be an AC&E YP leader? And I put my hat in the ring, and I was honored to be able to be selected as one. And I kind of just have stayed as a AC&E YP leader for the past few years up until last year. And it really, it's so fun being on the other side, being not only a scholarship recipient, but then flipping the hat and becoming one of the leaders and helping plan the agenda, find those CEOs for the roundtable, planning all of these things. It was a great experience.
I was kind of sad that you weren't one of the leaders this year. But they did an awesome job too. But I was like, oh, where's Ginger?
I was supposed to be. It was going to be my final year, but I had two friends getting married back to back 2 days of the AC&E, and I was in the weddings. I couldn't say no.
Yeah, I feel like that takes a precedence over.
Yeah, like maybe one I could have said no to, but 2 in a row, I can't say no to 2. I can't do it.
That's preposterous. I wouldn't be able to.
I know.
So on top of Fuel, leadership and all of that, CUCE Michigan Council.
Yes.
What got you started in that? Because I've only been to like CUCE, the Future Summit. I've never been to the Economic Summit. I did apply for a scholarship.
Oh, let's go.
Be back soon. And I didn't even know what CUCE was until last year. But how did they come up with a young professional liaison? And I see you're passing the torch, and how did that come to be?
Yeah. No, I thank you for asking, because how I got involved was I knew Devin and Jessica, who were in Fuel Michigan, and they're huge. They just have great testimonies of leadership and being involved in Fuel. And they were the very, very first Fuel Michigan liaisons to the CUCE Michigan Council. Yeah. And basically the idea was the CUCE Michigan Council is a thread off of the nationwide CUCE Association, provides credit union education to credit union professionals, both young and old, whoever. So our thread here in Michigan, the board decided, we want to be more involved in young professionals education, and how do we get involved? And so I don't know how exactly this idea sprang to life, but Jessica and Devin volunteered to be the first liaisons, which means they would be on the board. They'd go to board meetings, and then they would offer up insight into what's going on in Fuel and how could the CUCE board get involved. And then they decided it was maybe a 2-year term. At their end of their 2-year term, they're like, we need to find replacements. And so that's when they opened it up. And I had just, again, my curiosity, it came through as an email, like what you just said. I had no idea what it was. I didn't know what they did really. And I said, you know what? I remembered one Fuel Michigan all statewide meeting where Jessica and Devin stood up at the front of the room and were with the rest of the board. And they shared maybe for 10 minutes about some of the events that they held, and I could just feel their passion for not only the credit union industry, but also education. And again, me wanting to be a mathematics teacher, I get passionate about training and teaching and learning. And so I'm like, you know what? Why not? I'm going to just try for it. So I applied, threw in the application, and Andrea Coggins from FPCU and I were selected. And so we're coming up on our 2-year term now and kind of doing the whole thing again. We're sending out the email, look for some replacements. And I believe we're both going to be staying on as associate board directors. So we'll be able to warmly invite in those 2 new liaisons, which I'm very excited about.
Do you do it? Is it monthly meetings, or is it I
want to say it's every month. It kind of varies. I would say for sure around a handful of them, over 5 a year. And a lot of them are planning for the 2 main events, which are what you already named. The CUCE Future Summit typically happens in February. And then the CUCE Economic Summit usually happens in October, the fall. So the 2 big events, as well as their annual golf outing, which happens in the summer. And this past year, super cool. We got involved, the 4 statewide leaders, which is Josh Buck, Kyle Trondle, Delana, and Miranda. And they worked with Andrea and I to find some more volunteers. This was a volunteer event, volunteers to come out from Fuel and help run the golf outing. So they helped with registration. They helped with whatever else was needed that day. Again, I was unfortunately unable to join, but I heard it was very successful.
Yeah, I saw pictures of it on LinkedIn. And then with all of that, you also got is it CCUE, correct?
It is, yes.
You were in the same class as our COO was, Stephanie Wyman.
Yes, I was.
What made you want to get that, other than the fact that you are interested in learning? And what was that? It was a 3-year process?
Mm-hmm. Yeah. It's a big endeavor.
Wow. What is that? Why?
Well, just as a fun caveat fact, also during this time, I was a full-time online student getting my bachelor's in business management. So I don't know what possessed me.
You sound like a glutton for punishment.
I'm a little bit. I'm like, I can do it. I can do this. It was a little difficult, but I would say Community West has been huge about investing in leadership. I love that. And those who are interested in leadership. And a couple of our C-suite executive team have gone through the program when it was CUNA Management School and highly recommended it. And so it was always kind of there. I knew about it. I didn't know much what it involved, but then it got presented to me and my boss said, Ginger, would you be interested? And I said, of course, my curious brain, yes, new opportunity, new learning. I love that. Yes. And so I applied. We had like an internal, kind of system and I was able to thankfully be invested in and join. It's no joke. I mean, it's a whole week out of your summer for the full 3 years. And then in between year 1 and 2 and 2 and 3, you have a 80 to 90 plus page project that is due. So you're constantly working on it. And it's not just like an essay. It's like you're diving into your credit union's financials, into your balance sheet, income statement, and the nitty gritty of the history of why your credit union is in existence. It was fabulous. I can't speak highly enough of the program, but I will say it's not for the faint of heart. It takes some self-discipline, especially that last month before the project's due. Man, I had some late 2 to 3 a.m. nights cramming in that project. So
I feel like I would have died.
But you have a team. You have a supportive. Like we had a group my first year.
Projects?
It's not a group project, but your first year there in the summer, you make friends. It's unbelievable how tight you get with people when you're living with them day in and day out. And so through the year, we had an email group and we would email each other, hey, where are you at in the project? What page did you get stuck on? What helped? And so you have a friend group where you can bounce ideas off of and really be there to encourage and support one another.
That sounds.
Yup. Yeah.
And the fact that you did that while full-time school and having a full-time job, like, did you even sleep?
I found time.
Like, I feel like I take on a lot, but it's not like that.
I wouldn't maybe recommend that. Maybe that's not a recommendation, but I do recommend credit union management school. I do recommend for those who are in it for the long haul and are really looking for that next step, that next challenge. Mm-hmm. I learned a lot about the back scene, about what the C-suite level, how they work with the board, and a lot of the tough decisions that they have to make and deal with every single day that when you're not in that seat, you really don't know. So it was an eye opener.
I feel like anybody on the front line doesn't understand the back of it. Oh yeah. I didn't understand. I still don't, but what do you mean you can't do that without board approval? Mm-hmm. And then you have to learn all of the backside of it. And I've only had a glimpse of it. So good job on doing it deep in. Did you also graduate too? Did you get that done, taken care of as well?
Yes. That was September of 2024. So before my third year of credit union management school, I graduated. So that was one less thing I had to do with that last project. And
freaking superwoman over here.
I don't know about that. It was
a shame. With that, because you've done all that, you started part-time teller, learned your way up. What is something that you would give a piece of advice to somebody who just wants to start out, or where they can find their footing in the credit union space?
I would say take chances. I mean, take those opportunities. That's the only way I have found myself where I'm at now. I was open to learning new things and I was open to change because it's it's easy, I think, to get comfortable in any industry or any position, but if you want to grow and you really want to dive in, you got to be curious and you got to take those chances. And to this day, it's kind of funny. If I know I'm going to be uncomfortable doing something, I actually make myself do it, because getting comfortable being uncomfortable, I know it's like the statement of the century, but it's so true. Like, it is so true. Like, I actually really enjoy public speaking, and I used to hate it when I was a kid. And it's because I made myself do it. I'm like, you know what? That's something that makes me nervous. I'm going to do it more. And now I do it all the time for my job and for Fuel and being a district leader. And I purposely took those opportunities because they were a little uncomfy and a little nerve wracking. And once you take them, you're like, oh, I can do this. I can learn and grow and change.
So that big project that you've been procrastinating on that only really takes 5 minutes if you do it, but like,
eat that frog, eat the worst thing first.
You build it up in your head of like, no, I'm not going to do it. And then you do it and you're like, why was I waiting?
Yep.
That is, and you don't grow. I feel like you don't grow if you're in your comfort zone, you're not going to grow.
Mm-hmm.
Like, comfort zones are great, but like, you have, like you said, get uncomfortable, and that's where you go.
Exactly.
Grow. And those opportunities don't come towards you unless you do that.
Yeah. And you got to kind of know yourself. You got to kind of know, am I comfortable where I'm at? Right? Like, have I been comfortable? Have I taken on a new chance? And maybe it's not a position growth. Maybe it's you really love your job, but you've been doing the same things in that job for a while, and you haven't asked your manager, hey, is there anything I can help you with that's new that you could teach me that would take something off your plate? Just saying that, being usable and open is huge. I mean, you might grow tons. You might be in the same position for 10 years, but from the first year to the 10th year, you may be a totally different person because you were open to taking on new challenges and new projects in that position title. So that's something actually a mentor in my life, years before, she told me, she's like, Ginger, maybe it's not a position change. It might be like a task change or a project change or a new challenge within the job. And that really helped me to be, I don't know, comfortable being uncomfortable.
I like that, because I've always looked at it as, I'm growing professionally if I am getting a promotion or I'm going somewhere else. But I also really love my job and my job.
Mm-hmm.
So that, I like that. That's actually a good way to look at it, I think.
Because then you're not always, I don't know. Again, don't get me wrong. I think getting a promotion, getting a title change is amazing and speaks highly to people who get that. But at the same time, I've never been motivated by that. I've always been motivated by challenges. And am I helping someone? Am I serving someone? And if I am, I would feel fulfilled. But typically my brain, I get bored. Like I said, I need a new challenge every so often. And so that's when I would just start asking, like, is there anything I can help with? Or I'd be open to helping if you need someone on that project. And then I find myself in roles I did not think I would be in.
And that's how I ended up with 2 certifications last year.
There you go. See?
Something I can do.
Yeah, exactly.
And then they told me they wanted a 3rd certification this year. And I was like, can I do it next year?
Yeah. You also got to know your limits too. I will actually speak up and raise my hand. I had taken a bit off more than I could chew for a couple years there. And so that's actually something I've had to work on personally, is when to say no and to protect my role in my credit union and what I do, as well as like obviously your personal and mental health. Like you need to protect that. So my problem is more I say yes to too many things rather than not saying yes to enough things. That's more my problem.
That's me too.
Yeah.
Because I don't like saying no, not because like I'm afraid, but it's the FOMO. I want to do it all. I want my name to be attached to this really great opportunity and I want to do it. Mm-hmm. And then sometimes you look back and you're burned out and you're not sleeping and you're like, oh, I probably shouldn't have done that.
Yeah.
Yeah, I've read a lot of books on learning to say no.
Yeah. And I think, again, someone in my life spoke to me and she said, Ginger, it's also not, it is about don't get burnt out, those things, but also think about the quality of work that you're giving and the things you've already said yes to. And if you continue to take things onto your plate, how is your quality of work going to be affected? And will you be disappointed in yourself because of the lack of quality? And that really hit me because I'm like, I don't want to, smear my reputation as a hard worker or like the quality of my work. I want it to still be pristine. So that might mean I have to say I am at capacity at this moment in time. And that's kind of how I looked at it, because saying no is really hard. But if I say I'm at capacity right now, maybe I can take it on later. That's helped me a lot.
Rewarding it is.
Yes. It's a brain thing for me. It's like, a psychological thing.
All right. Do you think there are any misconceptions about credit unions, and what do you think they are?
Oh, there are. We all know there are, for sure.
100%.
I have quite a few family members and friends who they know what I do and they just like to pester me, but they're like, what really is the difference between you and a bank? Like, really? And so they like to just have these nonsensical debates with me, but I always go back to how we started in our, like, the core of who we are. You know, I think, yes, there are probably some good community banks, but at the end of the day, back in that boardroom, the decisions that are being made, are they for the membership who own it, or are they for the shareholders? And what difference are they making in the community that they're in? You know, we're not, credit unions shouldn't be out to take over the world. We're supposed to be taking over the community that we're in, helping that community. And so I start with the why. I start with the heart of the matter. And I feel like the rest falls in place. Now, they might not be as passionate as me about credit unions, and I'm okay with that. That's totally fine. But that's always how I dive into that conversation.
I get that a lot too. Well, it's no different.
Mm-hmm.
It actually is.
It is. It is.
Let me stand on my soapbox here and let me tell you the ways that I am different.
Mm-hmm. You know, and that bleeds a lot into advocacy. I know Hype the Hill is coming up for the young professionals, not just Fuel, but young professionals in general in the state. And it's a great time for us to share that exact thing. Our why. Why are we different from the banks? And there's nothing better that speaks to that than the stories we see all the time, no matter what department you're in. We just had a major fraud situation that involved accounting, and accounting was able to help catch things and really save this membership. But a lot of the times too, we are the ones who eat those fraud costs. It's not, unfortunately, it's not the people who should be eating the cost. It's us. Yeah. So those things is, again, why I'm also passionate about advocacy, because it goes hand in hand with who we are as a credit union.
What excites you about the future of credit unions? Where do you think we're going? What excites you about it? Because I know a lot of times we've been talking in the advocacy space and at ACE and all of these of, the future. What do you think we're looking like?
You know, that's the funny thing about the futures. You can't really tell. I think I could hypothesize on what I think is going to happen, but overall, even if we evolve, and I've heard all different types of things, but no matter how we evolve, I just hope we don't ever lose that why. I hope we always stick to our guns on why we started. I think obviously with AI and technology moving at such an exponential pace, we're going to be changing and moving and we already have. I mean, look at us compared to where we were 50 years ago. Totally different. So honestly, I can't say. All I can say is I hope that however we do change, we just keep our core values. And I obviously we're going to have to change to survive. Again, being comfortable, being uncomfortable. We're going to have to change things that we've done for a while.
And it's interesting to see all the change. Even a year ago, how we do things. It's constantly, I go up to our front line and they do something. I'm like, when did you start doing that?
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
This is why, like Check 21, we started doing that. That went live the day I stepped off the teller line. And so last week they made a joke of, are you going to open a drawer and help us? And I was like, if you give me the cash dispenser and show me how to do checks, because I don't know how to do that.
No, yeah.
You'd be able to. And I was like, I don't know.
Yeah.
That's after my time. No, thank you.
I feel like there's always something I'm like, now that I'm in the back scenes, like I'm the one helping write a lot of our operational procedures and things of that nature. But I will jump on the teller line here and there and have to help on a Saturday. And there's always something I'm like, well, that was different from the last time I was in the branch. But
I'm down for it. I'll stumble my way through it and I'll figure it out. That's like why procedures exist. And I would love to just spend a day again as a teller to see.
It's honestly
how different it is.
It is. I think any department should spend a day on the teller line, because there is, I feel like in my current role, I do a lot of the middleman things where I'm communicating to the upper level team members as well as the front line. And I see there's frustration. There's always that there's some type of miscommunication, and they have to deal with a lot. Contact center, call center, and the front lines. It's ridiculous, kind of how much they have to know and remember and do. And the minute we change a procedure, you got to remember how we updated it. And I have a lot of heart and caring for them, because I talk with them constantly. I'm constantly in the branches and I just see it. And in our contact center, gosh, how much fraud has risen lately in the types of calls that they're taking and how much they have to be almost like detectives and on edge. But at the same time, we're asking them to be cautious and alert and, kind of skeptical, but we're also asking them to have stellar member service and to be kind and open. And it is not for the faint hearted. That's also a very, very tough job.
We ask a lot of operations. And I think that's at any credit union we ask. Because you're facing members and you have to learn how to pivot because things are different every single day.
Exactly. Yeah. Every day. Every member is different too. And you got to have that poker face. You got to, it is a full body job. It's
even when you really want to laugh or cry and you're just,
I know.
Yep. And I don't know, I've seen a lot of check fraud, like more so than ever lately.
It came back. It's came back. What are some of the new things happening and shaking at your credit union?
Right now, check fraud is the big one.
Is it?
We have a group of people that live in the same neighborhood, and somebody got a hold of a checkbook and wrote checks out of it. The account has been closed. It was an account with us, but it had been closed forever. And $10,000-$15,000 at this point, to the point where we've had to completely look at our account opening procedures and what can we do to stop this? And then they're going to ATMs and depositing it and pulling it out and then check kiting. And that's where we've seen the most fraud. Not even cards lately. Cards obviously is it always thing. People are always going to get a card because people online shop. But out of everything, it's been check fraud. And it's been with newer members, and I approve all of our membership. And it's to the point where I am so skeptical approving any membership. And I oversee everyone. And it looks good to me. But then I find out 3 weeks later that their account is negative $5,000. And I'm just
I know it is so tough.
I don't understand it.
Yeah, it's pretty mind boggling to just think about all of the different ways that they can commit fraud now. And literally. I know we have a lot of AI sessions at these conferences that we go to now about the deep fakes and all of this stuff. But then you do have that. You do have that. But then you also have all of these old trickery type fraud rings coming back. And it's gosh, you're getting bombarded on both sides. And so, recently, me and a person in our compliance department went to the Capital Area chapter, had a free fraud education, 2-hour long kind of roundtable discussion. And we went, and it always just, I don't even know how to say it. It's just there's so much information. There's so many new things coming at you in these roundtables. And of course, I'm the one operation person in the room, and they're passing around the microphone. I grabbed the microphone and said, okay, I have a question. I said, you all see all of this fraud, how prevalent it is. And you have all of these amazing processes in place. And I said, how do we effectively communicate that down? Again, I have the heart for it, for that front line, the front lines in our contact center, who are usually the first person getting hit with it.
Yeah.
How can we help support them and equip them to handle it? And so there was a really good discussion around that. And I'm just kind of a weird segue, but I'm so thankful for our chapters and that they do these education roundtables and help continue to connect our credit unions, because I heard something that happened at a credit union in that room. I'm like, hey, we just had that. They just hit us with that. And so then we can start sharing things. And it's just, I'm just very thankful. It's another reason credit unions are amazing. We're very collaborative, and something you won't see at a bank.
They keep their secrets. We had one, it was a couple thousand. I think it was 10,000. But our teller called to confirm this was a written check. But they're oh yeah, their accounts are in the funds are in the account. It's all good. So she released the funds. She put a shorter hold than needed. And then he went to an ATM and pulled it out. It came back a week later as fraud. And so we had to listen in on the call and make sure, did she call and verify this? And our member service supervisor called, and I was in the office because I was talking to her, and she's like, hey, listen in this call. And she's like, okay, well now your account's negative 9,000 and we need you. And he was like, okay. I was I wish I could be that nonchalant about owing somebody $9,000, because I probably would have been no, I would not have been okay. It's just kind of what was it? Oh, it's for my friend to pay for his college, and 2,000 was for me and the rest was for him. And we're that's not how this works, my friend. And I've trained it into my 85-year-old grandma's head with her iPhone that's as big as her head because she can't see. If you don't know this person, don't respond. And she's like, she's so afraid of it now. Like, they're going to get my card. You don't do online banking. You don't do online shopping, grandma. Like, you're fine. Amazon's not going to take your card. And I went up there and she's like, I got this text from this bank. Is this legit or fake? And I said, well, do you have an account with that bank? No. So what do you think it is? It's fraud.
Hey, you know what? She's asking you those questions. That's a win in my book. That's huge.
Literally, I will take it anytime. My mom FaceTimes me. Is this text legit? No. Okay, thanks.
I love that they ask. I mean, I say if half of the members that fell into fraud, if they had asked first at one of, if they called us up, just call us and ask those same questions, man, my team would love to just talk with them and help save them from potential huge losses. We thankfully, we helped a member who was almost going to lose $165,000 from a wire fraud. And man, it was painful because, the wire actually got sent and we had to somehow retract it. And we did. And it was all well at the end. But during those couple hours in the meantime, not only was the member freaking out, but the branch, there's so many people involved, and it's just like, gosh, these fraudsters don't understand. Maybe they don't care, but they just don't, like, the havoc that they're wreaking in people's lives. It just,
I think some of them might care. There's a show, oh my gosh, I can't remember it. It's on Hulu. But it's a reporter, and she did an episode. I'm going to have to, do I have Hulu on my phone? But she did an episode about money scams and one of them was that. And there are some people, like, they get sucked into it. Like, they're not trying to be that way. It's like they hold their family hostage in a way.
Oh my gosh.
And it was so interesting. But I saw the episode, our accounting manager actually suggested it to me. And because I think there are so many of them that just don't care, right? Like, they're like, oh yeah, I'm going to get this money. But then to see the side of it of, like, maybe they don't have a choice. Like, either way, it's wrong. And then we have the stress of, like, oh my God, are we going to get them their money? And then we take a hit. I mean, granted, we have insurance for a reason. It's disheartening to see it all. And I don't even see it every day in my role versus, like, where you see it. I can't. If I got scammed, I luckily have never, knock on wood,
knock on all the wood.
I have had my card skimmed once, and that's it. And that is a gosh dang miracle. And I hope it never happens to me, because no, thank you. I don't want to deal with it.
Yeah.
It's insane. And you see a lot of people. We had a member come in when I was member service, and her husband got caught up in the payday loans. And he was applying for loans like every day, with multiple, before it hit his credit score. And he unalived himself from this. She had no idea it was coming in. And she came in and said, I need to know what is what on this account. Like, she had no idea. And I remember sitting down with her and, like, 100 sheets of paper of, like, his year's transaction and highlighting every single transaction that was one of these. And, like, it was insane.
Those stories. I hope I never get numb to it. It's just, there's
I went home and cried.
Much,
I felt so bad for her. Like, I cried and I was like, here you go. This is what you need, because they are predatory, because those lenders are predatory. And it goes
1,000%. I mean, that's why that's one of the huge ticket items all the time. And we go and advocate to both state and federal legislators. Like, you said it the best way. They're predatory. And honestly, as terrible as these stories are, that's why one of my favorite positions to date was being a branch manager, because I loved taking these terrible situations or these horrible things that are happening to members, taking them into my office and sitting down with them and trying to help them find a solution that we can execute on, something that I can help them, some way I can get them through whatever they're in the midst of. And even if my answer is not perfect or there's nothing we can really do, there's always some direction I can point them, or some way we can educate them on, please don't go back to those payday lenders. Let's find a way. Can we get you in a specific product that we offer to help get you out of those predatory loans? These are all of our different options. Or if it means you need to come in every Friday and sit down with me and we talk about things, let's do that. What is it going to take for us to help you? And again, I think that speaks to the difference of credit unions to other financial institutions is we go that extra step. We go that extra mile. Like, I mean, the fact you sitting down with the member in your office, going line by line, helping them see those things and understand what it's going to take to move forward. Maybe some community banks do that, but I don't think that they do it to our caliber. I
don't feel like I could walk into any major bank and do that. They'd be like, okay,
yeah,
then just whatever. And that's another reason why I love credit unions is there's that personal touch. And I am going to spend my time with you. And I mean, I can't balance a checkbook really great after the fact, but I'll help you balance it going forward.
Right.
But yeah, I'll do it for you. Why not?
You know what is, this just came to my head, but what's so interesting when people try to compare us to banks, I don't love to do that because I feel like as credit unions, the institution we should be comparing ourselves to is our own and how we've been in the past. How can we be better than ourselves every day, every year? You know what I mean? Because we need to look at peer. We obviously need to look at each other, look at banks. How are we doing? How are we making decisions in this economic environment? But then also just, how of going to credit union management school and having to deep dive into the past 5 years of my credit union's history and watching how a couple decisions in 1 year floods so many other things 5, 6, 7 years down the road. It's fascinating. And I felt like if we did more of that, if we really did more self-analysis on how are our products and services and are we actually offering the things that the members we're trying to reach need, if we did more of that soul searching rather than are we better than that bank right down the side of the road, I just think that we maybe would make more leaps and bounds.
I feel like we grow best professionally, personally, not just the credit unions, but when we do self-reflection, because if we can say, yeah, this is a problem and you recognize it and you can work towards fixing it, regardless whether it's on ourselves, it's on the business plan, whatever, that acknowledging it is like step one. And like you said, self-reflecting and like, what can I do better?
Yeah.
I love that.
Yeah.
Is like, well, what can we do to do this? Well, what can I do to be better?
Yeah. How can I be better? How much better would I be if I tried every day just to be 1% better than yesterday? If I tried to be 1% better than yesterday in 2 months, I should be crazy better than I am today. And that's just speaking to me personally and professionally. But then as an organization, if we did the same thing, how in this month could we really make a difference in cost of funds? Or how can we make a big difference in this specific area of our loan portfolio? And I know that we do that. All of our organizations are doing that, but I just think I found a lot more reward doing that than continuously comparing and trying to catch up with peer or those around us. You're always going to feel a step behind. And I think one of my favorite inspirational authors or speakers is Simon Sinek. And
I love him.
He's great. And I think it was one of his either leadership speeches or maybe it was one of his books, maybe Start With Why. I'm not quite sure which one, but he was talking about Apple versus Microsoft. And it was a similar vein of how Apple they compare things to themselves. Like, how is their current product better or worse than others they've made? And he said Microsoft sometimes feels like they're always trying to catch up to Apple. And it's a very different mindset that they both have. And Apple knows that not all of their products are going to be the best or the greatest, but they're always going to try to be better than they were. And in that way, they're almost free from that continuous comparing where Microsoft's like, ooh, is our iPod better than theirs? And I don't know, that story he told just always sat with me. And I always think, Ginger, who are you comparing yourself to? How are you doing? And are you doing the best that you can do in what you're given? And that's kind of how I've attacked the roles I've been given.
I love that. And then we've gone over everything, but to sum it up, I'm asking everybody at the end of each episode the same question.
Yeah.
And it is looking back, what is the one moment that if you can pinpoint or moments that made you say, yeah, that's why I do what I do here. This is why I'm here. If there's one or two like pivotal moments that just, yeah, this is why I'm here.
The two that come to mind have to do with members. And the biggest one was I had this couple, they're regulars. They've always been with this credit union, and they came into my office and were very emotional. And after talking with them, her husband was starting to his health was kind of declining, and he wanted to buy a new truck. He wanted to make sure she was safe and they were protected on the road. His previous wife had died in a car accident, so he always wanted the new nice trucks to make sure she was safe. And I thought it was wonderful. But the problem is this truck payment was very large, and it was something that they weren't able to afford. And so she had came into my office very, very upset, visibly emotional. And she's like, Ginger, I don't have enough money to buy like eggs or bread or milk. And she said, I don't know how we're going to eat this week. And it was a lot. And I know she was feeling a lot of pressure, but we ended up having some very hard conversations, him, her, and I in my office, and about, is it a possibility? Do you want to get rid of the truck? How are we going to do this? And we ended up settling for a home equity loan, and we were able to consolidate all of their monthly payments and actually lessen how much they had to pay each month, freeing them up a couple $100. And I remember she again was emotional, but for a completely different reason after they left my office and just on cloud nine. And she ended up writing me. I love handwritten notes and cards. I just think that they're just heartfelt. It's something we're missing in today's age with all our technology. I love a good handwritten note. And she had sent me a card, and I still have that card to this day back at my place. And it just always reminds me, like, this is why I do what I do. Even though I'm not member facing anymore, I can still make an impact in someone's life. And, maybe that's someone on my team who are dealing with those members. Maybe it's someone in another department that's going through something I have no idea about. But it just reflects to me the nature of credit unions. We're here to serve other people at the end of the day. That's why we're here. And I will never forget their face and the fact that she now can have a budget and she can get groceries in the month and feel secure. Because we were able to offer her a solution that they had never thought of. So that for sure sticks with me always.
I love that you still have that card.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. It's a good reminder, of like, gosh, the little things that we think are just our job are changing people's lives, whether we see it or not. My VP of lending, she probably didn't realize, it's another home equity in the books, but no. You just shook that person's world for the better. So cool. So cool.
That's amazing. I love that story.
Yeah.
And with that, I think we're good.
Okay. Well, thank you for having me, Kayla. I super appreciate it. This is an awesome idea.
Thank you. I'm excited. You are officially episode 2, so that'll be out next month.
Woo, let's go.
Yeah.